Oh boy, am I glad to be here to accentuate the positive. Yes, I am. On Homo Politicus on Enterprise TV, we welcome you to another half hour. Now, Joe Biden election dropout and Kamala Harris's rising, a lesson in political selflessness. You know, in a 21st century politics, where the tendency is self over group interest, it's a rarity for a leader to exude a selflessness that marks him out, a standout politician, if you ask me. A leadership style that prioritizes the success and well-being of the majority over personal gain or recognitions. For Joe Biden, the 46th President, Commander-in-Chief of the United States, electing to withdraw from running for re-election and drumming up support for his Vice President and Senate President Kamala Harris. The personable, you know, that's Kamala Harris is the personable 59-year-old California attorney. It's a great lesson in political selflessness. After all, has it not been said that the mark of the man is knowing when to apply the brakes? And this case, a scenario that leaves us no less with the prospect of the first female president of Uncle Sam's country. Are we talking possibilities or are we not? Let's have a conversation, please. And my conversationalist today is the personable Cyril Abaku. Cyril is a broadcaster and communications expert. Cyril, good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you, Citizen.
Yeah, it's election time in America. Choice America 2024. And you're looking at a two-horse race between incumbent 81-year-old Joe Biden and fiery politician Joseph Donald Trump. I think Trump is late 79 or so.
Donald John Trump, yes.
Donald John Trump.
Yes.
That Joe Biden has elected to step down is one great lesson for Africans, if you ask me.
Yes.
Yeah.
May I even jump in from there? The Joe Biden's choice,
yes,
to come off the horse is quite instructive, and in a manner of speaking, we can learn a lesson from it that there are still regions of the world where institutions triumph over men. Biden had actually insisted he was going to stay in the race, he was going to stay on, he was going to be in running.
Initially, yeah.
But as at Saturday, as a Saturday morning, about 31 congressmen had come together to say, Mr. President, we respectfully demand that you discontinue.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, from your bid for a second term. I think the president sort of then had a rethink, and upon reflection came to wise judgment, which is to say, democracy, after all, is the will of the people, not the will of a man. So he accepted the bidding of his party men. He accepted the reality on the ground, because apart from the faux pas of the last debate he had with Trump, he had gone to a NATO summit where he had referred to Volodymyr Zelensky as Mr. Putin. And, you know, anybody close to him could have seen things at closer quarters. And it was up for him to say, okay, you know what? And when the party came together to say, Mr. President, we do think that you have to give this thing up. I mean, look at what has happened to Kamala Harris. He endorsed her, which was the right thing to do. And overnight, she took, not only did she take control of their campaign,
in fact, her rising, as I said,
yes, yeah, it swelled significantly.
It tells you something is cooking.
I mean, she already has some $81 million in the bag.
I hear in the first 24 hours.
Now, the good thing about this is that, for the sake of what it is worth, she is coming up against a Donald Trump who is an oratorial headwind. He drops verbal blizzards. He's a man known to say a lot of big things, high things. But Harris has also been an attorney, a lawyer, you know. So she's a woman who also understands the power of the gap.
Yeah.
And can deploy it effectively. I mean,
our favorite statement, I know the man Trump.
Good.
Comes into the picture here.
So they let them go toe to toe, woman or not. The American system is largely maturer than ours. My joy is that there will be no questions about rigging and stuff. You know, I mean, yes, they're going to go.
But issues come into the arena at a time like this. Let's go down history way. First sitting commander-in-chief to drop out of race was Lyndon Baines Johnson. That was on March 31st, 1968. It followed the swelling criticism over Vietnam War.
Exactly. And now, if you look at Baines, Mr. Johnson's own rise, the trajectory of his own emergence as president, you know, came
after JFK's
had been assassinated.
Yeah.
He was sworn in under very, and again, you know, he was a Democrat.
I hear he is the first president to be sworn in on Air Force One.
Of course, he was. He was. Once the news came, he was sworn in the air, and then they flew back to Washington. Yeah, where he resumed duty as president. There was no time to waste. But okay,
the second president, a sitting commander-in-chief to drop out was Harry S. Truman. Withdrew from the race in 1952. Low approval ratings. He was FDR's vice president.
Yes, he was the last vice president FDR had before he died after 4 terms in office. His own boss passed on in office, and then Truman also, you know, wouldn't run for re-election. Although in retrospect, historians like to put him as one of the greatest U.S. presidents. I think he's number 5 or 6, ostensibly because of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings that he undertook. That was talking about Harry S. Truman, whose S didn't mean anything, because he had 2 uncles whose first names started with S. So in order not to displease any of them, they took him
confuse
Americans. They Christian and put S. That S to this still doesn't mean anything, so that you don't offend one uncle and displease the other. But back to the issue on the table, the Democrats have been the ones that have, you know, sort of had this fortune more of an upheaval that throws out a sitting president, and then so looking at Kamala Harris now, it is obvious that she's enjoying a groundswell. I think that looking at Trump's first term and looking at the current global order, there's a sense in which the Democrats seem to be pushing a more globalized American vision, a more inclusive, global inclusive agenda. You look at Obama, you looked at Clinton, you looked at a man like Biden also. They seem to be stabilizers, but
put all of what you've said over the possibility or otherwise of the Americans sticking the Democrats for another 4 years after 8.
Well, so right
now, after 12.
12, yes. Well, this is how I'm going to put it. The American, you know, politics isn't so much about reason as it is about sentiment and emotion
and rhyme.
Creating emotion. I think it was in a movie I watched many years ago, The West Wing, in which the lead character who played President Bartlett was quoting. He was saying something to the effect that you campaign in poetry and govern in prose. I think he was quoting an ancient poet or something. But they catch.
But recently, Mario Cuomo.
Mario Cuomo. But this is the actual thing. Given the groundswell of support the Democrats are having, and looking at the fact that a number of large corporations want to put their money behind, appear to put their money behind a certain but
there's an overriding question here. The bystander is wondering if the Americans are ready for a female commander-in-chief.
Well, I don't.
Granting that Hillary Clinton came close to making the job against this same Trump.
Of course.
She won the popular votes but lost at the college.
So I think that, yes, in a manner of speaking, what we've seen with Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama, should be enough to put us in good stead. Why do I say so? Obama has broken the jinx of color.
Oh yeah,
he clearly has.
Yeah.
And Clinton has also sort of, broken or put cracks on the jinx of sex. So if you put these two together, Kamala Harris, I mean, she made it to be vice president. We are not even asking a question. Should Biden be allowed to conclude his term? Is he fit to do so? If he wasn't, and he resigned,
it will fit the bill of very few presidents who ran for just one term, In America. And in the United States of America, a thing like this does not matter. Doesn't take anything away.
Frankly, it doesn't matter. Yes, especially if you have your support base, there to back you. So again, but for I think that Trump and Biden, Trump and Harris going toe to toe, will be a very good way to
and consider this. Trump is saying, "I will trounce her," but Harris is saying, "I know that man Trump.
Yeah,
I'll beat him.
I'll trump him."
So we are envisaging a battle royale.
Yes, but again, not to take anything away from the fact that in an election, one day is a very long day. 1 week can be a very long week. By the time issues come of age, like we say in Nigeria, when John Gondo mature, by the time matters that come of age, you will be faced with some stark realities that each of the parties.
And experience is showing that however popular you might be in Uncle Sam's country,
yes,
in the build up to the election, morning, you might mess up and change the dynamics.
Especially because America is a very, very deeply and traditionally evangelical Christian country.
Yeah.
I give an example. FDR was in office for 4 years. He was largely an inspirational leader.
And for that matter, he was the first Catholic. And yet, current Joe Biden is a Catholic too.
Okay, good. Yes, but you see, it's not just about Catholicism. I think it's also about values. What's his name? JFK was also Catholic.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yes,
Yeah.
but when you now juxtapose these things, where I'm going is this: the America being deeply religious at their very core. Okay, Trump will be viewed willy-nilly as the candidate that represents the conservative religious class. So that could also bring something to the table.
Yeah, see, except that whatever I say here may not necessarily matter. Let's look at Trump's first coming. Remember, Trump, as I said before we came online, was the first president in America's history to order the employment of the mother of all bombs. This was dropped on Afghanistan, if you remember. No, that's just one of it. One of the issues that might come up. The second one was COVID-19.
Yeah.
It happened in Trump's presidency, and he dismissed it.
Then, of course, Trump also ordered bombings in Syria. But what I'm going to say is this: COVID-19 perhaps could have been handled better.
Sorry. Again, let me add this so as to give you more
perspective.
Further to shoot down the argument. Trump says he's going to end the war between Ukraine and Russia. Begs the question of how.
Like I said, Mr. Trump is coming across as a very, very conservatively Pan-American nationalist. He wants.
But are you at home with his diatribe?
Well, I won't. So I can't essentially agree with everything Trump wants to do or wants to. I said
what he says.
Yes,
on the soapbox.
Yes, but essentially, perhaps if I were to be an American voter, I like to look at a cost-benefit ratio.
And hear this: a cynic said the attempt on his life the other day was flashing a yellow card.
Anyway, Trump is the man. I mean, if you looked at the two candidates, you couldn't beat the fact that the person with the drama, with the charisma, the person who more easily grab the headlines is Mr. Trump. Even if he loses, the spotlight will be on him, and as to why and how he lost. So it remains to be seen how this plays out between now and November. But I can tell you that Kamala, Trump has a way of saying things that you wouldn't expect a president to say. And I just hope that she has the thick skin to take in some of his his caustic barbs, like referring to Joe Biden as a very bad Palestinian. You know, when I heard him say that,
and he himself is not a Native American. He's a settler. He's
German, yeah, I think from Germany also.
Yeah. So, but let's look at the two parties, Democratic and the Republican. The Democrats appear to me to have appealed more to the colored race in America.
The colored races.
And Kamala will not be the first woman to run for the plum office. There have been, in 1968, I think, a woman, I've forgotten her first name now, black African American, wanted to run. So Democratic Party gave the platform.
Yeah, so because the Democrats, another name for them would be liberals, really.
Okay.
They are the leftists. Everywhere you go, you find them. They are open to migration. They are open to that. This is why the rise of the far right, the far right in Europe, in Europe, basically, Hungary and all these places, you find that once they come to power, they are nationalists, they are anti-Europe, they are everything. In the American sense, I think that because the citizen, see where I was going earlier. Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, did four straight terms, right? And after he passed, America couldn't raise a Democratic president that did 2 terms until Bill Clinton came. Now, from the 1940s to 1992 was a very long time.
Okay.
Yes, but Eisenhower did 2 terms. Nixon was in office.
But it was Harry Truman who pegged the thing at 2 terms.
Yes.
He signed the amendment number 22.
And then, yes, and Truman passed it on to Eisenhower, who passed it on, I think, to Kennedy.
Okay.
Kennedy couldn't do 2 times. He did only 1.
Yeah.
Then Johnson also couldn't. So, and then after it came to Nixon to Ford to Reagan to Bush. So America is a thickly and deeply religious country, like I was saying. But in the recent years, the Democrats seem to have picked up some of the issues that have made America a most stabilizing force around the world. And so
this is not to take
insularity of vision is a bit of
this is not to take anything from the Republicans. President Reagan came and showed that he was not just a film cowboy. He could be a cowboy president.
Yes.
He instilled fear in the East.
He did.
Remember the statement, Mr. Gorbachev, tear
this wall.
Yes. He took more than guts.
Speaking of the Iron Curtain.
So when Donald Trump says to make America great, I'm looking at the word again, missing. Maybe it's deliberate.
Now you find that, you've talked of a certain Reagan. Every president that has come after Reagan, Democrat or Republican, has had to look to Reagan for inspiration. I recall that in 2009, I think, when Obama was on vacation or something, he tweeted that he was reading a Reagan book.
Yeah.
And
sorry, you remember Reagan had a particularly enthralling gift of the gab.
He did.
He enjoyed a good laugh.
He was called the great communicator.
Oh yeah.
So again, that speaks to the drama and funfair that sometimes comes with the American political and electoral process. But this year, there's a lot at stake. Okay, you were talking of cynics earlier. People have said that they've seen it in visions and trans that Kamala Harris became president. Some have said that they've seen it that
By the way, I hope you have not missed a certain psychic who said any president elected in the year ending in 0 would be killed in office. So you go back to the 16th, Abe Lincoln, Clinton, Reagan, and now Trump.
Yes.
Came in the year
2020.
2020. You know, so.
Well, I mean, all of this can be packed into the mix, all right?
And the other day he escaped the assassin's bullet.
He did,
so to speak.
He did.
So you are wondering who is saying what here.
But the question is, if he succeeds, having escaped an assassin's bullet, we hope that he also goes on to escape the hurricane that Kamala Harris may be bringing in his way, because obviously this may be some kind of protest or vengeful action, tsunami against him. They are by those who do not share in the cheer that a Trump president, that the second coming of Trump is the best in America.
The Americans will talk about swing states and another. You have the swing states,
Michigan and so on, and then the blue states and so-called
red states.
Yes, but of course again there are places I expect Trump to win outright. Indiana, is it Wyoming, Utah?
Yeah,
those core
predominantly white environment
and unashamedly, unapologetically evangelical states. So he will win, all right. But the election is again, I have to say this, that in politics, you don't have to be right to win. You only have to have the right following. And whether you're making sense,
except that you may be right, but if you mess around, you'll be punished.
You will be, So I mean, if you looked at the election that brought in Eisenhower to office, Adlai Stevenson, who was America's ambassador, America's ambassador to the UN, was by far the man to beat. But what happened? The voters said this man Eisenhower has won the war in Europe, has defeated Hitler. So let him be the one who comes to order a new America, a new post-America, and that was how he won. And then during his inauguration, he famously said, "Let us pray." And so those are.
Well, he was fondly referred to as Ike.
Ike, yes, because again, you see, that speaks to a man's connection with his base. Whether he's making sense of things very much or not. If you're gonna check back on, if you're gonna look at how Ike won his elections, he was winning by unimaginable landslides by today's standards. Even Reagan won election by a very wide margin.
Oh, he did,
He did. By
the way, the Democratic candidate was already an aging man. I'm talking about you know him, the Baptist minister Jimmy Carter. So and remember what helped. He talk about last straw. The Iranian episode. Reagan said, the moment I'm inaugurated, the first thing I do is to free the Americans. And lo and behold, the night preceding his inauguration, the hostages were freed.
And for the first, and for the first time, I think that's the Potomac River. All the inauguration had been done, I think, on the left also. Then for the first time under Reagan, it was done on the other side. So Americans believe that this was a good omen. Was a result of some kind. And then they went on. So I think, a
man who famously said, we don't need the Republican or the Democratic answer to our problem. We need an American answer to the problem.
As a matter of fact, I can tell you this for free. Reagan's 1964 declaration speech for the presidency and his inauguration speech of 1981 are speeches I have listened to regularly over and over again. The one for 64 was called A Time for Choosing. And then in 81, when he was running for president, he gave a rousing speech. You really that by the things he says and the things he's able to eventually do. So we wish them the best. If the American psyche feels up to it to have their first female commander in chief,
why not? At least, as I said we mentioned it, even if in passing at the beginning, Hillary Clinton came close to nicking it.
Very close. Yes.
But Hillary Clinton was also a Democrat.
Yes.
So here we are with another
deja vu. Yes, a deja vu of what happened 2 elections ago. Clinton versus Trump.
I'm sorry, as the wise man said, there's nothing quite like an old idea whose time has come.
And frankly speaking, I also think that Kamala Harris can't take all the goodwill for everything she needs. Trump is a man to beat. She had better known that. Otherwise, it's Trump all the way back to the White House. All right, which appears to be what they will say to the core Americanism.
See, but at the end of the day, everything will be devolved on the elector. Whatever we're saying here is commentary from our standpoint.
Yes.
And nobody can go to court over it. But let's thank you, Cyril Abaku, for your intervention.
Pleasure.
Producer says we must apply the brakes here. So we do, but let the debate continue from your part of town. Cyril Abaku, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
So our job is done. Until the next time, this is your sincerely citizen, Jones Hussein, bidding you bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.